potential and they tackled it strategically. The tools and roadmap are there.
Absolutely. So to get you started this week, we want to leave you with a specific challenge, a provocative thought. What's the one piece of complex industry jargon or maybe a technical concept that you really need to nail in English? The one thing that, if you could explain it perfectly and confidently, would significantly boost your professional standing.
Identify that one thing. Then pick one of the acceleration hacks we talked about, maybe a mnemonic, maybe creating some contextual flashcards, and make a plan to truly own that term or concept this week.
Start there. Be consistent. And you'll likely be surprised at how your professional world starts to open up.
Small steps, big impact.
Exactly. Well, this has been incredibly insightful. If this deep dive has given you actionable steps for your career, we'd really appreciate it if you'd like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It helps others find this too. Until our next deep dive, keep learning, keep practicing.
Hello, welcome to the Learn English Lab. Today's podcast, 1 hour English listening practice podcast, part 2. Topic name is Communication Skills in Professional English. And welcome to the deep dive. This is where we really get into the nitty gritty of professional skills and break them down into things you can actually use, like right away. If you're working internationally or even just in a diverse team, you already know this. Professional English isn't just nice to have anymore. It's basically essential for getting ahead. Today, we're doing a really big deep dive into communication skills specifically for the professional world. We've pulled together a lot of insights and practical advice, almost like a blueprint, really. It's aimed at, professionals who are ambitious, maybe English isn't your first language, or you're just aiming for those bigger roles where how you communicate is, frankly, everything. Our goal today is pretty straightforward, help you move past that feeling of anxiety, maybe, searching for the right word in a tough meeting, and instead get you to a place where you can deliver, say, a persuasive presentation, or just communicate clearly and confidently day in, day out. It's more than just language. It's like unlocking a kind of career superpower.
I like that, career superpower, because that's exactly it. We're not just talking about speaking English perfectly, are we? The real goal is effective communication. Can you use the team conflict, or maybe synthesize a complex strategy in a way that actually inspires people across different offices, maybe even different countries? It's about applying the language where mistakes, well, they really cost something.
Right, the stakes are higher.
Definitely higher.
So let's lay the groundwork then. What are we actually talking about when we say professional communication? Is it just talking in meetings?
Oh, it's much broader than that. Think of it like 4 interconnected pillars, all vital in a work context. First, yes, speaking, obvious one, presentations, meetings, negotiations, even just networking.
Right.
Second, and this one's often, maybe underestimated, listening, truly active listening. It's fundamental for trust and accuracy. Third is writing. Your emails, reports, proposals, they need to be clear, concise, professional. And the fourth pillar, which can sometimes have the biggest impact, honestly, nonverbal cues. Your body language, posture, eye contact, facial expressions, they're communicating constantly.
It sounds comprehensive, but why the intense focus? Don't people just kind of pick this stuff up as they go along?
Yeah.
Improve naturally.
Well, hoping to just pick it up is a bit risky in today's environment. The data you see is pretty stark. Poor communication. It's a major reason projects fail. It leads to team conflicts, costly misunderstandings. It just drains resources.
Right.
But on the flip side, research consistently shows that professionals who actively work on their communication skills, they're the ones who tend to get promoted faster, they step into leadership roles sooner, and they generally show higher productivity. There's a real measurable link to career success.
Okay, so it's a skill worth investing in, clearly.
Yeah.
When you talk about professional communication, what makes it different from just, chatting with friends?
Good question. There are layers. 3 key things stand out immediately in a professional context. First, formality. You have to get the register right. Knowing when to say, I appreciate your input on this matter, instead of just, got it, thanks, is really important. It shows respect for the context, the hierarchy.
Okay, formality. Makes sense. What else?
Second, precision. In casual chat, a bit of vagueness, well, it's fine. But in business, vagueness is, like you said earlier, the enemy.
Right. It leads to errors.
Exactly. Ambiguity costs time, money, reputation. You can't afford to be unclear. We should meet sometime soon. That's useless professionally. Let's schedule a call for Tuesday at 2 p.m. to finalize the contract details. That's precise. Everyone knows what's happening.
Okay, precision. Got it. And the third layer.
This one's really interesting. Cultural awareness. This is where the real nuance comes in, especially in global business.
Yeah.
You might be used to very direct communication, say in a Western context, but that directness can be seen as, well, blunt or even aggressive in other cultures.
Especially with negative feedback.
Especially then. In some cultures, you need to be much more indirect, more guarded, to help the other person save face and maintain the relationship. Direct criticism can just shut things down. So, learning to navigate those cultural differences in communication style, it's absolutely non-negotiable if you're working internationally or leading diverse teams.
That's a huge point. Okay, so if we're building this foundation, we need some kind of mental model, right? A checklist.
Yes, and that brings us to a really useful framework. The 5 C's. This is like your instant quality check for any piece of professional communication, whether it's a quick email or a formal report.
The 5 C's. Let's break those down.
Okay, first C. Is it clear? Can the person receiving your message immediately understand the main point? Or do they have to reread it trying to figure out what you want? Clarity first.
Makes sense. Second C.
Cohesive. Does it all hang together logically? Does the information flow smoothly from one point to the next? If you're jumping around between topics without clear transitions, it lacks cohesion. It needs to build a single understandable argument or narrative.
Right, it needs to flow. Okay, third.
Complete. Have you given the recipient all the information they actually need? The context, the data, the next steps. If they have to email you back just to ask basic clarifying questions, your initial message wasn't complete. It just creates inefficiency.
Avoids that frustrating back and forth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fourth C, concise. This is about respecting people's time. Are you using 10 words when 5 would do? Cut the fluff. Get to the point efficiently.
Be brief, be brilliant, be gone.
Something like that. And finally, the 5th C, concrete. Are your statements grounded in reality? Are you using specific facts, data, examples? Vague generalizations are easy to dismiss. Concrete details, specific evidence, that's what persuades people. That's what makes your communication stick.
Clear, cohesive, complete, concise, concrete. Okay, I can see how running any message through that filter would instantly improve it.
It really does. It forces a level of discipline.
All right, that framework sets a great foundation. Now let's get into the practical toolkit. You mentioned 14 essential strategies. Sounds like a lot.
It does, but think of them as integrated tools, not just a long checklist. They draw on insights from experts, people who train leaders at, top institutions. We'll group them a bit.
Okay, let's start with some immediate impact strategies. Where do we begin?
Let's start with strategy 1. Be clear and concise. We just touched on this with the 5 C's, but it's worth hammering home. Conciseness respects the listener's time.
And you mentioned it's a trap for non-native speakers sometimes, feeling they need to over-explain.
It is. There's often an urge to use complex vocabulary or long sentences to sound perhaps more proficient. But usually, simple, direct language is much more powerful. And structurally, get your main point out up front. Start with the conclusion or the key message, then provide the supporting details. It makes it so much easier for the listener.
We had that great example earlier. Instead of that long winding, I was wondering if you might possibly have some time to potentially discuss.
Right, all that hedging.
Just say, let's schedule a 15-minute call to review project updates. Boom. Direct, confident, respects their time.
Huge difference. Okay, moving to strategy 2. Prepare ahead. Preparation is honestly the best antidote to communication anxiety.
But what does good preparation look like, beyond just reviewing your notes 5 minutes before a meeting?
It's deeper. 3 levels, really. First, research and verify your facts. Don't go in with assumptions. Second, anticipate the tough questions. Think. What are the 3 hardest challenges or objections someone might raise? And prepare your answers. That removes the fear of being caught off guard.
Okay, anticipate the curveballs.
Exactly. And third, gather your support. Bring the data, the concrete examples. If you're in a negotiation, you don't just say, this is a fair price. You say, based on our Q3 analysis here, this price reflects X, Y, and Z, and it's backed by our quality guarantee, which you can see detailed in this appendix. You use evidence to make your case solid.
Okay, so preparation is about facts, anticipating questions, and having proof. Got it.
All right.
Now, the big one. Nonverbal cues and gestures. This covers tips 3 and 10, right?
Yes, and this is where things get really fascinating. That statistic that nonverbals can account for anywhere from 65% to, some studies say, even 93% of the impact of your message. It's staggering.
It means you could say all the right words, but if your body language is sending a different signal.
The audience believes the body language. Almost every time, if you say, I'm confident, but you're slumped, avoiding eye contact, fidgeting. They're reading anxiety or uncertainty, not confidence.
So we need to both read others' cues and manage our own.
Both are critical. Learn to notice things like crossed arms often signals defensiveness or disagreement, but crucially, manage your own signals. Leaning forward slightly shows engagement. Maintaining good eye contact, not staring, but connecting shows you're present and interested. And there's a subtle technique called mirroring, gently matching the posture or gestures of the person you're talking to. It can build rapport subconsciously quite quickly.
What about hands? We often don't know what to do with our hands.
Hands are incredibly expressive. Think about their message. If you're delivering difficult news, maybe keep them calm, perhaps lightly clasped. But if you're inviting collaboration or brainstorming, using open palms when you say something like, we're open to all ideas here, physically reinforces that message of openness. It's a small thing, but it adds impact.
Okay, powerful stuff. So we've covered clarity, preparation, and body language. What about the sound of our communication?
Right. Let's talk strategy 4. Watch your tone. Tone is huge. It conveys your underlying emotion and intent, sometimes more than the words themselves.
And it applies to both speaking and writing, doesn't it?
Absolutely. When speaking, varying your pitch and volume is key. A monotone voice is, well, boring. It signals disinterest. Modulating your voice keeps listeners engaged and lets you emphasize key points. In writing, especially email, tone is notoriously tricky. Things can come across as harsh or sarcastic unintentionally.
So how do you check your written tone?
The best trick: read it aloud before you hit send. Seriously. Hearing in the words often reveals a tone may be aggressive, maybe passive-aggressive, maybe overly stiff that you just didn't notice when reading silently.
That's a great practical tip. And vital for things like de-escalation, right? When things get tense.
Crucial. Think about disagreeing. Saying, that's wrong, is likely to escalate things. The tone is confrontational. But shifting the tone and phrasing to something like, I see that point, but I have a slightly different perspective. Could we explore other options to make sure we land on the best approach? That invites collaboration. It challenges the idea, not the person. The tone is constructive.
That collaborative tone leads nicely into the next set of strategies focused on active listening. Tips 5 and 14, I believe. You mentioned the 2 ears, 1 mouth idea.
Yes, that old wisdom really holds true professionally. Active listening isn't passive. It's not just waiting for your turn to talk. It's hard work. It means consciously eliminating distractions, put the phone down, close unnecessary tabs on your laptop, give the speaker your full attention.
And showing you're engaged.
Yes, visually nodding, maintaining eye contact, and verbally with small acknowledgments like, okay, I see. But real active listening goes deeper. You need to probe. Ask clarifying questions. Could you tell me more about the challenges you foresee with that timeline? It shows you're not just hearing, you're processing and thinking critically about what's being said.
And paraphrasing seems like a really useful tool here too.
Incredibly useful. Paraphrasing is like your confirmation step. After someone explains something complex, you summarize it back in your own words. Okay, so just to make sure I've got this right, you're suggesting we prioritize feature A this quarter and push feature B to Q3, assuming we get the extra resources.
Right, it catches misunderstandings before they happen.
Exactly. It gives them an immediate chance to say, well, actually not quite, or yes, that's it. It prevents costly mistakes down the line.
And the other part of listening, tip 14, is about not interrupting. That can be hard when you're eager to jump in.
It is hard, but interrupting, even with good intentions, often sends a message of disrespect. It implies your point is more important than theirs. You need to cultivate the patience to let the speaker finish their thought completely before you transition smoothly. It shows respect for their contribution.
Okay, listening is clearly a complex skill. And managing all this tone, listening, nonverbals, seems to tie into strategy 6. Building emotional intelligence. EQ.
It absolutely does. EQ is sort of the operating system that helps you manage yourself and your interactions effectively, especially the difficult ones.
EQ sounds a bit abstract, though. How does it work in practice?
It's actually very practical. Think about the core components. Self-awareness, recognizing your own emotions as they happen. Self-regulation, managing those emotions constructively. Motivation, empathy, understand others' perspectives even if you don't agree. And social skills, building rapport, handling conflict. In a professional setting, this becomes critical in, say, giving feedback or handling disagreements.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Let's say you're frustrated because a deadline was missed. Without EQ, you might lash out. You missed the deadline again. This is unacceptable. Very accusatory. With EQ, you practice self-awareness, recognizing your frustration, and self-regulation, choosing a constructive response. You might say, using an I statement, I'm feeling concerned about the project timeline slipping. Could we talk about what